Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Morgan Bathke. I am the Dietetic Internship Director here at Viterbo University, and I am looking forward to sharing with you some information about our program. We offer three distinct tracks for our dietetic internship. Track one is your dietetic internship alone. So if you either already have a master's degree or you're just not interested in getting a master's degree at this time, this is the track for you to apply to. This track can be completed here in La Crosse, Wisconsin, or anywhere in the United States. And it's 1,400 clinical hours and 30 graduate level credits for a total tuition of $19,200. Track two is our dietetic internship plus a non-thesis master's. So this is a clinically focused track. You do your graduate level courses, but you don't have to do the research project or thesis portion. This is for maybe if you're more interested in learning more about nutrition, getting that master's degree, but really not a huge fan of research. Just like all of our tracks, this one can be completed here in La Crosse or anywhere in the United States or its territory. And because of the clinical focus, it also has 14 hours of clinical work, and it's 48 graduate credits. So those extra 18 credits come in your graduate courses, and the tuition is $30,720. Our last track is the dietetic internship plus our thesis master's. So in this track, you'll not only complete graduate level courses, but you'll also complete a research project and do a thesis. So if you really like research, or maybe there's a topic that you really want to learn more about, this is the track for you. And again, can be completed anywhere in the United States or its territories. But there are less clinical hours for this track. So instead of doing 40 hours a week for 10 months, you'll do about 30 to 32 hours a week for 10 months, totaling 1,024 hours. The minimum requirement to sit on the RD exam is 1,000 hours. So you're just over that. And you have 39 graduate credits. Now, fewer of these credits are going to be clinical hours because, of course, you're doing less clinical hours. So you'll have more of those graduate credits. And because you're doing those less hours a week, that's really the time where you can focus on doing your research. And tuition for this track is $24,960. For your rotation placement, Jamie Weber is our clinical placement coordinator. So once you're accepted into our program, you'll work with Jamie, who's going to secure your rotation sites for you. So Jamie's going to ask you where you want to be placed geographically, right? So do you want to be in New York City or California or Florida, right? Or anywhere in between? And then she'll also ask you about your nutrition interests. So do you really want to make sure you get a rotation in peds or sports nutrition or eating disorders, right? And she'll help identify sites that would be a good fit for you as far as your career interests go. I want to highlight you don't need to find your own sites. So this really makes our program unique in that a lot of other internships that are allowing distance rotations really have you find your own sites. We don't do that. We work with you and we find sites for you. And we're unique in that we don't make you identify sites before you're accepted into the program. A lot of distance sites are more like ISPs, and they require that you find the sites before accepted. Not here. Once you're accepted into the program, that's when we help you identify your sites. So just to give you an overview of what our internship looks like. So keep in mind, if you're doing the one of the master's tracks, you'll also have some graduate courses to go along with this, but this is just to sort of share with you what is similar amongst the internship portion of our tracks. So phase one is what we lovingly refer to as boot camp. And the reason that we call it this is because it's 8 weeks of sort of intense MNT lectures. We have you complete Ergo case studies, which is a really nice web-based program where you can, it's basically mimicked off of Epic charting system, which most healthcare systems use now. And you get to do case studies that are really like real world case studies. So in your undergrad, you had a case study on a patient with diabetes. But in real life, you're probably going to see a patient that has diabetes and high blood pressure, maybe CKD. And so Ergo really mimics those and you get comfortable with the charting system that you'll most likely be using. So that way, when you go to do your rotations, you feel like you're more comfortable, ready to hit the ground running. And we have videos for our simulation lab to help you with learning how to do blood pressure checks, blood glucose checks, placing NG tubes. So some really good experiences there. And then you also get oriented to your community nutrition rotation. So you learn about facilities like WIC or corporate wellness or telehealth. You do virtual tours and you learn how to conduct health screenings. So the purpose of boot camp is to really get you ready to do your rotations. And this 8 weeks is completely online, so you can do it anywhere. Phase 2 is your community nutrition rotation. So if you're doing track 1 or track 2, this will be 40 hours a week. Track 3 would be about 30 hours a week. And it's a 16-week rotation. And generally, we have you go to 2 sites that are 8 weeks each. And you can see our site options here. So eating disorder clinics, WIC, corporate wellness, sports nutrition. We have affiliations with the Minnesota Vikings, with UW-Madison, University of Minnesota, Louisville, kind of all throughout the country. We have really strong connections for sports nutrition and even working at a grocery store. The nice thing about being able to do the 2 sites is that maybe you really want to do WIC, but you also really want to do sports nutrition, and you can get a little bit of experience in both. Also, if your passion is sports nutrition, for example, you can do a full 16-week rotation in sports nutrition. And in fact, some of the sites kind of prefer that because then you're really there for a whole season. Phase 3 is your MNT and food service rotation. So what this looks like is 4 days a week of MNT and 1 day a week of food service. And the reason we combine it is because most MNT sites are going to be combined with some sort of food service. So, for example, if you're doing like inpatient, outpatient, long-term care, all of those clinics generally have some sort of food service happening as well. So we combine them. Similar to the community nutrition, you'll do 16 weeks at 2 different sites, 8 weeks each, so you can get a couple different experiences. Track 1 or track 2 will do 40 hours a week. Track 3 will do 30 to 32 hours a week. And you can see, in addition to the traditional sites, we also have options with telehealth or private practice. So phase 4, if you're doing track 2 or track 3, this is when you'll actually finish up your master's degree. I have examples of some electives that you may take. You also could choose to take electives from our mental health counseling program, perhaps if you're really interested in outpatient nutrition counseling or eating disorders. And you can also take electives from our MBA program. Maybe you're interested in management. One last thing that makes our program unique is the travel to Spain. So you can do your final rotation in May in Spain. Um, I travel with a group, and the focus is sports nutrition and the Mediterranean diet. It's 3 weeks. We work with culinary students and learn how to prepare traditional Spanish dishes. And then we work with professional Spanish athletes after we've learned about the Mediterranean diet to provide nutrition counseling. These are some of them are Olympic athletes, all of them are at the professional level. So great experience for sports nutrition. And of course, we learn about olive oil, how that's made, wine, how that's made, do some taste testing, lots of cultural experiences, and it co-counts as a graduate elective in your in track 2 or 3. So priority placement, we offer through our program. So skip the match. Don't have to wait until April to find out if you are where you're going to be living for the next year. So if you apply to our program by November 7th, you will be notified of your acceptance by December 5th. So that way you have time to know if you need to apply to the DICUS match, where applications are due February 15th. The materials are the same as DICUS: unofficial transcripts, personal statement, and 3 letters of recommendation. When you're doing your personal statement, note which track you're applying for, track 1, 2, or 3, and then all of your documents should be emailed to our administrative assistant at the email address that's provided here. Interviews will occur during the month of November, and as I mentioned, you'll be notified December 5th. One last thing, you can use financial aid at the graduate level for all of our tracks, which makes it very financially feasible. And for more information, check out our website. You can see all of the details on each of our tracks. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I have my email address there. If you have questions about clinical placement, you can email Jamie. And if you have questions about the master's graduate courses, you can email our graduate program director, Kelsey McLymans. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to hearing from you and sharing more about our program.